Welcome to Monday Morning Coffee with Inside the Firm. Each week, our hosts will be interviewing local, regional, and national business leaders to give you an inside peek into how they lead their business to success in the ever-competitive business climate.
Welcome to Monday Morning Coffee with Inside the Firm. Today, I have a very special and unique guest. Dr. Alain Salas is a chiropractic physician, #1 best-selling author and creator of The Mind Clearing, Body Clearing, and Goal and Success Clearing Systems. After experiencing personal and professional struggles, including a failing business, divorce, and a colon cancer diagnosis, he embarked on a transformative journey that led him to discover a 3-step process to break limiting beliefs and achieve vibrant health, harmonious relationships, and prosperity. With over 28 years of experience, Mr. Alain has helped over 4,267 clients in the U.S. and Europe transform their lives. Today, he teaches this life-changing system to lay people, coaches, and health professionals alike. Welcome to the show, Doctor.
Thank you for the intro. I couldn't have said it better. Nice to meet you, Lance.
Yeah, good to meet you too. Before we get into what you do now, tell us how you got here. Are you from a family of entrepreneurs first?
Not really, actually. I'm the only one. But, pretty soon in my life, I just wanted to have a different life, right? Because I've seen all in my family, they will do like the stereotype kind of life. Like, I didn't want this. I was all about having adventure and things like that. And of course, to be an entrepreneur is quite an adventure, right? And so I started my own business. I was like 22 years old. And I had a boat rental business, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And what happened to the first business? How did it fail? And then obviously you have moved on since then in a different direction.
Yeah, well, it didn't fail because, I just wanted to have the best of both worlds. So meaning that what I wanted to do is just to have adventure, to have some free time, but at the same time, not being constrained and doing what I love. So I had a boat rental business. So I was working 7 months a year, and the rest of the time I was traveling and quite frankly enjoying life.
Yeah, that's okay. Great. Yeah, no failures, no problem. What do you think is fundamentally wrong with our current approach, modern society's current approach to heal mental health issues, chronic stress, and diseases?
Well, here's the deal, Lance. When you've got a problem in life, right? It can be a health problem, it can be a prosperity problem. No matter what problem you have, you need to know 2 things in order to resolve a problem permanently, meaning that I moved on. I don't even think about having that problem any longer, right? You need to know what's causing your problem, and you need to know how to fix it, right? And so the big problem with what we focus only on our conscious mind. So it's kind of like we live in 2 separate worlds at the same time, Lance. So we've got what we call the outer world, if you want, right? Which is basically our conscious mind, who we think we are, ourself, our personality, and what we are aware of, meaning our thought, our emotion, our behavior, and our action, right? So that's it. That's the conscious mind. And after there's a very mysterious mind, right? That we're going to call the subconscious mind. And it's hidden, and we don't really know what's going on there. And so this mind also records everything you have been doing in your life, Lance, from age 0 to now. Also, all your skill as a podcaster, as an architect and all that are stored in your subconscious mind. Also, all the automatic process in your body that you don't have to think about, like your breathing, your heartbeat, your digestion, are in your subconscious mind. So I got really intrigued by that. What is the subconscious mind? What this is about? Mm-hmm. And that's how, because like you said, you were talking about failure. I think what you were referencing is like, I had a calling when I was in south of France, and after I decided to come to the US to become a chiropractor. So imagine they used to call me the gypsy, right? I had long hair, party all the time, and mm-hmm. I told my parents, I'm going to come to the US and become a doctor, right? So they pretty laugh at that. But my mission has been given. My mission in life was given to me. So I guess I'm blessed for that. So I went to the US, have a pretty good practice, and graduate from a chiropractic school. And I was more focus on the inflammation, the chemical stress, right? So I had 4 employees. I was seeing 250 patients a week. And so I was living the American dream, right? The big house, in the best neighborhood. I married a French girl that I met in a bar in Kansas City. And so I thought, okay, here I made it, right? But when lives got more, they want more out of you, usually things happen to say, hold on, wait a minute. That's only the beginning. It's not the end of it. And so that's when I got sick, like you described it. And my business went from thriving to failing because my life was in balance and burnout, right? And so when I was coming home, I was there, but I was not present with my family. And so I just got divorced, as you said, and all those things within a year, right? Got divorced, my business went down, and got diagnosed with early stage of cancer. You have to think that if you would have come to my practice, I would have told you, you need to do these things to avoid cancer, right? To avoid cardiovascular disease. And here I am doing my program and getting sick. So I have to rethink about everything in my life, in my health, in my relationship, and my prosperity.
Who was the influence though that steered you towards this digging in deeper about the subconsciousness? There had to have been somebody out there that you were reading, listening to. I mean, or did it just come from, God?
Insight. I call that my insight, right? And so, because, we always talk about, mind-body connection, right? So basically, what is the mind? So I started to Google, right? And what is the mind? And so what I found out, it's some information that are available to everybody, but after what you do with information, right? And so that's what I found out, that we live in two separate worlds. And so I started to dig more into the subconscious mind. And what I found out is really mind-blowing. So the first thing that I want to say, it's like, your conscious mind, so your self-identity, who you think you are, process data at 11 bits per second. And your subconscious mind process the same environment at 11 million bits per second, meaning like I'm here now talking to you, my conscious mind gets 11 bits per second information. My subconscious mind basically get 11 million times more. And it's just unfiltered by our conscious mind. We don't know really what's going on, right? And so that was, like I said, man, this is really powerful. Okay, let's check that out. And so what I found out, it's like, I'm telling you, like if some member of your audience are standing up now, please sit down. If you're in your car and you're not moving, buckle up, because what I'm going to tell you is going to revolutionize the way that you think about yourself and who you are. Who am I? The big question, right? So here it is.
Yeah.
Our conscious mind is only depends who you're reading, is only 5 or 10% of our mind. Meaning our subconscious mind is 90 to 95% of our mind. And yet, to answer your question, what we focus when we want to heal, to grow, to transform ourselves, and to be successful, we focus only on our conscious mind. So it means we are using only 5 or 10% of our mind power. So you know what, Lance, I thought about it and I said, why don't we bring the subconscious mind? Why don't we bring 90% of our mind power to the party? And that's what the mind clearing is about.
Yeah. So, I mentioned it in the intro here, you've got a 3-step process. What are the 3 steps to reprogram yourself? Your limiting beliefs, your negative thoughts, your emotions and behaviors. What are those steps? I think everybody who's interested in taking action.
Well, here's the problem, Lance, in my field. It's like, they tell you if you want to reprogram yourself, right? Basically, you just have to write down a journal, you have to do all those things, lots of affirmation. And it's like, it takes a long time and maybe you will get it, right? So what I discovered, it's like we don't speak the same language. I used to travel a lot, Lance. And when I was meeting a cool guy, and we didn't speak the same language, it was so frustrating, right? It's like in the podcast, there's no more sound, so I'm going to try to do sign language, write down stuff. We cannot have results. We're not going to have a depth of communication, obviously, that we can when we speak the same language. So now, what is the language of a subconscious mind? Well, the language of a subconscious mind, your subconscious mind communicates with you via dream. When you remember a dream, what do you remember of a dream, Lance? Basically a picture, right? A serial picture. I never had anybody told me, you know what, I remember only the smell of my dream. It doesn't even make any sense, right? So there's always a picture. That's why a picture is worth 1,000 words. That's why it can process 11 million bit per second, right? And also in the picture, you've got all the symbolism that you cannot even write it down because it's vary upon individual, right? And so there's also what we call the collective consciousness and the archetype, right? That are really highly symbolism. And so, the picture encapsulate everything. So what I will ask you, let's see if you've got a goal. Give me a goal that you want to reach.
10,000 subscribers on Inside the Firm.
All right. So you are where you are, right? And your goal is 10,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
So when we have a goal, we all have it comes with a preconceived idea how to do that, right? At least we've got a starting point, right? Make sense? So what we will do, we'll say, okay, I want you to visualize, remember? So I say, Lance, I want you to visualize you failing, not be able to reach that goal. Right? Because that's how we're going to communicate to your subconscious mind. That's what I want to correct. That's what I don't want. So that's why I want to correct, right? And so I created a download program that we customize to you, right? And you're going to visualize that and send that to you in that picture. You have to see yourself failing, right? So you're going to send that. And after, what we're going to do, I'm going to say, okay, Lance, we good with step number 1, which is deleting what you don't want, basically, to make it very easy, right? We call that the limiting belief, right? The negative programming that can prevent us to reach our goal. So we delete that, and after, Lance, good job. What we're going to do now, you're going to have to visualize totally the opposite of that picture, your ideal outcome, right? And remember, you have to see yourself doing it.
Right.
And after, we're going to download that program, customize it. You're going to send the download. You are the one using your own ability to heal yourself. You are the one, because it's your pictures. And you are the one, using, I just give you the technology to use like 90% of your mind power that you didn't have access before, right? So that's step number 2, right? So we download, we customize it. I'm just here to guide you and help you out. And the number 3, it's as important than number 1 and number 2. Number 3, we want to make sure that you manifest, you create that into your life, that is going to happen into your life, right? And so the number 3 is what we create. We manifest that into your life to make sure that this is not a fantasy in your head. I'm sure you're a very successful businessman. You know that if you don't implement things, nothing's going to happen, right? And so that's the step number 3.
What do you think about vision boards then? Because that's one of the ways I try to manifest that subconscious stuff out, and so it's really worked well for me. Honestly, I used to believe it wasn't real, and then I made one 3 years ago. Made the most money I ever had at one point, and why it wasn't so much about the money. There was other stuff on there, like I needed to catch a paddlefish bigger than 70 pounds. Right, it was a giant fish.
Sure.
That happened. I went hunting. I didn't kill the animal, but I came very close to it, and I saw what I needed to believe it was real. The money, the amount of money though that I wanted to make 2 years ago, based on the vision board, is what really blew my mind. When the dollar amount came in on my taxes versus what I put down, which I thought was not even possible, shocked me. And I do have a lot of this. So the 10,000 subscribers is where I. Is actually from the vision board today. So is that part of, do you believe these things are real, or you're trying to take that from the ethereal and put it out there and then you see it every day?
Well, there's always different ways, to communicate with your subconscious mind. Some people will meditate and things like that. What is pretty cool with a mind clearing is very specific, right? And it's in a short time. You do one reprogramming if you've got after resistance, or if you've got any, because I didn't finish it up in a way that, let's see, so you're here, you want to get to the 10,000, let's see, you've got 5,000. You want to get to the 10,000, right? So all the negative programming in between you, where you are now, and your goal, we're going to delete that. So it means that when you set up goals, we're going to take one step. I'm going to say, okay, Lance, what you need to do? You need to take one step, right? And during that step, for example, give me one very 1 week step that you will take for you to go on your way, on your path to reach 10,000 subscribers. What will it be? Just give me out.
What is the one step to get there?
The first step within a week, just within a week, a very short step that you can take now to to go on your way?
Probably just the easiest one would be like me posting on LinkedIn and making
All
a
right.
compelling post and saying like, go subscribe here, which has been working lately. So
Yeah. So what you do, you post on LinkedIn, right? And everything that you didn't like, or let's say you hope that you had more response about that, we're going to delete it.
mm-hmm.
We're going to use the mind clearing to what I call the resistance for success or resistance for healing, right? And so, like that, you're going to have more clarity and focus, right? So, now let's see the knowledge for you to reach like the 10,000 subscribers here, and you are below it, right? So, each time you're going to make a step, you're going to get more clarity and focus. You're going to raise your level of consciousness if you want to use big words, right? And so, after what happened, you're going to resonate with that knowledge. You're going to be able to bring that knowledge into your life in order to reach the 10,000 subscriber. But at the same time, it's going to get much easier and much easier to reach your goal because you're gonna have less resistance, right? And at the same time, you got more clarity and focus, right? So it's gonna be much faster to reach your goal, right? And in the same time, you may course correct it because now you've got more clarity, more certainty, right? Less doubt and all that. So now you say, wait a minute, I didn't think about that, but now it's just much easier to do it this way, and you change your mind and course correct what you decided, because what's happening to make it like very pragmatic in a way, depends our level of awareness or our level of clarity. We're gonna attract into our life the knowledge that matches.
Yeah.
And that's a very important thing, right? That's how we can surprise ourselves. Because when you started like where you were, and now you say, damn, I cannot believe like I'm making all that money. It's because now you got more clarity and focus, and after you can reach that knowledge, and after you apply the knowledge, which is a part of mind clearing, right? And that's how you get the result.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. One other thing that stood out when I was booking you as a guest is that you talked about limiting beliefs a lot, and that's kind of hard, going back to where I had a limiting belief. I was like, this isn't real. This can't. There's no way I'm going to make that number. And then I did. What are the steps that people need to that would take that, like if there's 3 steps, and I think maybe the first one is, and you can correct me if I'm wrong here, but for me it was just like saying it out loud, writing it down, and trying to get to that goal, which seemed that was the first way to not limit my belief that it was possible. What kind of steps and practices do you recommend people make for maybe impossible dreams?
Well, and that's the hard way. For everything there's the easy way and the hard way, and it's more like a kind of, you want one fish, right? And you're gonna use some dynamite, and boom, you're gonna throw that dynamite in water, and you're gonna get your fish, right? So it's like it's not really very selective, right? And so that's why the mind clearing is more like that. Other things works obviously, but it just take much more repetition and things like that. And that's really the biggest thing. So if you don't want to learn mind clearing, for example, because this is available for everybody, right? You can do it on your own, and you can help your loved one too. But if you don't want to do that, what I will advise you to do is just to visualize again what the worst case scenario, right? Because that's going to pinpoint, that's going to tell your subconscious mind, hey, that's what I want to change, right? You visualize that, and after the step number 2, you visualize the opposite of your outcome, and I want you to get into that picture and really feel it that you are there, right? That you are getting, you've got all the success. So and really imagining the best, right? And number 3, I want you to have another picture in which you seeing, um, um, getting the success. You see the end product, what you want, you're getting your 10,000 subscriber, but the key is just to feel it. So, but again, it's not as obviously good as doing a reprogramming that will take care of everything. But, that can give you some stuff. I'm not saying that's the only way. I'm saying it's a very selective way to do that, and very efficient way. It means it takes less repetition and things like that. Also, when you go on Google and you put like limiting belief, right? What you're going to get is basically self-esteem stuff, right? It's basically, I'm not good enough, or I'm too old to do that, or there's no way I can get, this amount of money, like for you, like this amount of money on that. But it's more than that. It's all the negative programming. Because do you believe intuitively, do you think that your mind can create pain in your body, for example? What do you think?
I think so too. Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
I think you have to
So
look within. Oh, go ahead.
yeah. So do you think your mind can create also a symptom in your body?
Say that you said that very fast, and I
Sure.
didn't quite understand you with your
No
accent. I'm
problem.
sorry.
Yeah, no problem. What accent?
Right? Yeah, you sound like my engineer,
So,
David. So keep going.
okay. So
Yeah.
do you think that your mind can create symptom in your body?
Symptom?
Symptoms. Yeah. Like
Symptoms,
making you,
symptoms, symptoms. Is
yeah,
that what you said? Okay,
symptoms.
symptoms. Do
Yes,
I? Oh,
that's correct.
absolutely, 100%. Mind over
Yeah.
matter. Mind over matter for a lot of this stuff for sure, and manifesting it and being positive. What do you think? That's what's so interesting too. Is like, oh, then there's positive and there's negative energies, right? And the negative energies, man, are they sticky? It is so hard to shake them. And what's weird is, and then the positive energy about it is that when you have those positive energies, they're they're much more powerful in terms of what they can do for you, but at the same time, they're not as sticky. So if somebody walks into a room and they have a negative attitude, they can bring the whole crowd down. It's hard to get rid of it.
Yes.
And the positive, though, is sort of contagious, where it's a different way. It's not so much sticky, but it's like it can infect people. And it's not, it goes inside of them, I think, versus kind of the negative sticks in the outside. I don't know if you try to think of it that way, but I
Well,
do.
it's like higher vibes, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh, this guy's got good vibes, right? It means it's a higher way of vibrating, right? And so,
Hmm.
yes, it's like very contagious, like, and you want to be with this kind of people, like, it's kind of a bees with the honey, right? And but also, if you've got like bad vibes, right? People are repulsed by it, right? They just don't want that. But if you want to compare the mind as a computer, right? So, like the basically your brain will be, your hard drive, your software will be your subconscious mind, right? And the output of your software will be your conscious mind. And your behavior will be reflected on the screen of life, right? So if you've got like a very good quality program, right? For example, lots of what we call empowering belief, right? It's like when your mind is working for you instead of working against you, right? It's like some good things, a good outcome for you, right? So, and you ask me, hey, Alain, how are you doing? I say, oh, never better. I cannot believe I created that technique that can help so many people. I'm having a blast, having podcasts all around the country. Life is great, right? But if I've got lots of limiting belief, meanings like negative programming, and the way you can relate, it's like where you've got days that you think like your mind is working against you instead of working for you, right? And so you ask me how you doing. I say, oh man, I feel so lonely. I cannot never reach my goal. And I look at all the other people, they are successful, and I'm a failure, and blah blah blah. Right.
Hmm.
So what do you want? Basically, you want a good quality programming. Now, here's the problem. If you look at the fact lens, if you look at the fact, 80% of thoughts are negative for the average people. 95% of thought are the same as the day before. So we like kind of a hamster,
Hmm.
with a spinning wheel, right? And we need to get out there, right? And so those subconscious programming and the subconscious mind. And so that's why we need to speak the same language and delete that. It's kind of like when you've got a computer, you've got a program for your architecture things, right? And you don't like the outcome of it, right? You don't like, there's a better program. So what you're going to do, you're going to delete the old program, you're going to download the new program, and you're going to love what you see, the outcome on your screen. That's that simple.
Yeah. Yeah. You've been a great guest. Very intriguing thoughts. I'm glad you. I hope you've got people's wheels spinning and they want to look into you more. But before we get into that, tell me, knowing what you know now, and if you could go back in time to when you first started your business and your 3-step methodology, what is one piece of advice you'd give your former self?
Well, it's always has been the same. I always follow my dreams. Like if somebody told me it's not possible, we say in French, we've got a saying, we say impossible is not French, which is very presumptuous. But yeah, and so
Uh-huh.
just go for your dream, and like, and I always did that though, and also just be creative,
Hmm.
right? For me, it's so important because I've been doing that for like what, 28, 29 years, right? If you're not creative, you're going to get bored, you're not going to,
Yeah.
you don't have that passion, you cannot fuel that passion. And for me, creativity is like the essence of who I am, right? I just need to create different things. I created over technique and all that. And so just don't get caught up in the daily routine and things that you are sleep. Just stay awake. Keep on dreaming, and never lose that fire that we've got mostly in our childhood, and keep that free spirit and that fire to be able to reach your goals, right? That's very important to me.
100%. 100%. If people want to follow you, get in touch with you about your services, start getting in your program and making changes in their life, how do they do that?
Well, they should just go to my website, right? Easy way. It's called themindclearing.com, themindclearing.com. They go into contact. And after there's a form, and if they want to work with me or have got any question, they can contact me. Now, if they mention your podcast, because here's the thing, we can talk about things forever, right? But true knowledge is about experiencing things, right? It's about doing it. Right? Again, otherwise it's a fantasy. So if you want to expand the work, you can get a session with me. It's an hour session, right? And we can clear whatever you want, right? Like that, you will understand what this is about and how you feel different from before the session and after the session. I will give 20% off for that. And if you want to learn the entire system, which is like we mentioned, it's not only about goal and success clearing, but you can treat pain like that. I do that every day. Usually it takes 70 to 80% of the people will experience no more pain within 2 visits, just by reprogramming the mind. That's how we are powerful, right? That's how powerful we are. And so if you want to learn the mind clearing basic and you go for the goal and success and the body clearing, you will get 50% off on the entire package.
I love that. I love that. Thanks so much for being on the show today.
My pleasure.
I hope somebody will take, some of our folks will take you up on that offer. So appreciate it. Thanks for being a guest.
Thank you, Lance.